Why do bad things happen to good people? That is often the question that is asked when something that is perceived to be negative happens to someone who does not deserve it. Today I'm going to share a personal story and a principle that you can utilize the next time that something bad takes place in your life. If you are here for the first time or you are returning, welcome or welcome back. I am Kanu Sankara. I have been in the military for the past decade and a half. I am now in the process of transitioning out of the military, so I'm now pursuing my degree in psychology. However, I am the director of the Purpose Development Academy. It is an academy that is dedicated to assisting you discover or rediscover and develop your purpose so you can live a life that is more in alignment with who you are and your values, and one that is truly fulfilling. That being said, let's get into today's lesson and principle. One Saturday, while driving my eldest daughter to a sports day, we stopped at a T junction. And while I'm waiting for the oncoming vehicles to pass so that we can turn in to the other road, another vehicle comes speeding and crashes into the rear of our vehicle. The impact was so powerful that it pushed us into the line of the oncoming vehicles and over the road into a drain. When we came to a stop, I turned around and I asked my daughter if she was okay. She said yes at first. I was angry, but then she started to cry and I became so fearful because I didn't know what was taking place with her. Thankfully, there was an ambulance close by and this ambulance rushed us to the hospital. At the hospital, several checks and tests were done on her, and it turned out that she had no broken bones. However, she had some bruises. We were released and we went back home. However, I was supposed to be on duty on the Sunday. So I spoke to my senior officer and I explained to him the situation. And he told me that he would get someone to work in my place so I can stay and monitor my daughter. Early Sunday morning, I got up. My daughter was watching television in the living room. My eldest brother was asleep. So I proceeded to make breakfast. My mother came downstairs. I gave her her breakfast and she went back upstairs. Shortly after, I heard her faintly calling me. So I walked upstairs and I saw her clutching her chest and she's telling me that she's getting these intense pain. And I knew at that moment that something was seriously wrong. I woke my brother up and he immediately got my sister's vehicle. We didn't even have time to call the ambulance and we rushed her to the hospital. Ironically, it was the same hospital that I had taken my daughter to a few hours before. After checks and tests were made, they determined that she was having a massive heart attack. Thankfully, we got her there in time. And later on, I analyzed what had taken place and I realized that the accident that could have taken my daughter's life was actually responsible for saving my mother's life. And that is when I discovered the principle that things do not happen to you, but rather for you. Even though in the moment it may appear to be something that is negative. It was only later that I realized that this accident didn't happen to us. No, it happened for us. It was a gift of life that came wrapped in the form of adversity. And this is the principle that I want to share with you, that negative things or things that we perceive to be bad do not happen to us, but rather they happen for us. Please don't think that I'm trying to downplay or disregard the gravity of your personal situation. You may have been laid off from your job. You have bills piled high to the ceiling, and you have a family to care for, and you do not know where your next check is coming from. Or you may have developed an illness, and this illness has cleaned out your saving. I am simply trying to point you in an alternative direction. Because sometimes we may look so long at a closed door that we miss the window of opportunity that is open to us. And that occurs when we keep focusing on the bad that has taken place rather than looking to see the positive that you can derive from that bad. And that is the start of a positive mindset. That is the start of a growth mindset. So the next time something bad happens to you, try and look at it from the perspective of it's not happening to me, but rather for me. Try and find the positive, because for every bad that happens, there's an equal and opposite good. And it may not happen immediately. You may not see the positive result immediately. It may come years after. For example, I have a neighbor who injured her back, and for years she felt sorry for herself because she wasn't able to do some of the things that she was accustomed doing, and it also made her angry. But sometime after, while coming downstairs, she held on to the railing. This is something that she usually wouldn't have done had she not injured her back. And by holding on to the railing, she recognized a snake coming up the railing. And of course, she was able to get rid of it. But it just goes to show that we may not see the positive that comes out of a negative situation immediately. It may come years after, but we have to look for it. We have to seek it because it is there. And this is what I want you to walk away with today, that when something bad happens, you approach it with the mindset of, this is not happening to me, but rather it is happening for me. This situation may be difficult now, but I will find the positive results of it. That very subtle shift is one from the mindset of a victim to one that is growth oriented. So the next time something bad happens to you, remember, it is not happening to you, but rather for you. If you find value in this message, please implement it immediately in your life. And while you are at it, I want to ask you to like and share. Leave a comment, even ask a question. And finally, subscribe for more. And I will see you in the next video. Believe that.